Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. John Owen talks about sports and movies. Thank you for checking out today's video. I always appreciate the support, and let's get into it. So, Captain America Brave New World, the MCU's first entry as Sam as the lead as Cap in a solo film, has finally hit theaters, and I certainly have thoughts. So today we're going to do a review. Overall, it's an odd mix of parts that lead to a flawed but compelling film. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss out on any of the fun. And I'm also going to issue a spoiler alert, so if you haven't seen it and you don't want spoilers, save this video, watch it later, come back after you've watched. This film is a little all over the place. Admittedly, I would like to preface by saying that this film is definitely better than what the critics and the earlier reviews had stated. I mean, dear God, they were just panning this damn movie, and I was like, y'all some hating asses. Like, this movie, like, I saw it getting compared to Ant-Man 3 and some of, like, the bottom of the barrel, like, low-tier MCU films, and it's just so not the case. Did this movie blow my socks off? No. It's a mid-tier MCU film, which is fine, right? It's just mid, right? But to say it's as bad as the reviews are suggesting is just so unfair and untrue. With that out of the way, I'm going to talk about why this film maybe was getting some of that conversation. This is such an odd mismatch of parts into a movie, right? Like, you've got all the Sam Captain America stuff on this end, okay? And then, whoa, let's pull something way out of left field. Let's make this movie a pseudo Hulk sequel. Oh, okay. Cool. Thunderbolt Ross, Betty Ross, the leader, and then, the Serpent Society is like weaved into that as well. And it's just like and like they try to play it off like, oh, Sam and Thaddeus have been at odds before, which, like, yes, they have, but that tension wasn't at the forefront between Ross and Sam. It's between Ross and Steve, and Sam was just in the periphery. He was just kind of feeling the side effects of that. So the tension's not there as much. There's not this super heated rivalry like there would be, you know, as they're trying to trump it up. It's just not there because these characters have not spent that much time being the main sources of friction against each other. So the friction is just like kind of odd. Like they're trying to like really like use this as like a pseudo Hulk sequel because they never made another Hulk movie. They don't touch almost none of Hulk's side characters and any of the movies that Hulk's in moving forward. So it's just like, and I think this, and I've heard some discourse like, why is all these Hulk people in this movie? It makes sense that Sam would go against the president of the United States of America, right? Like that makes sense, and it makes like sense. Like it does make some sense that like they would be at odds with each other. But I lost my train of thought. Oh. Sam just doesn't have that mythos. He can't pull from this deep pool of a rogues gallery or character or antagonist for him to go against because he's, for the most part, just been Steve's sidekick or cleaning up the pieces that Steve made. And I'm glad this movie isn't just like a father of, or the sins of my father, which of course Steve is not Sam's father, but you understand, like there's a lot of that in the Iron Man movies and Thor and Black Panther. There's a lot of the sins of my predecessor, my mentor, my father, right? So I'm glad this movie like steers away from that. At the end of the day, it's just like weird seeing Sam fight Red Hulk and Sam go against the leader whenever we haven't even seen the Hulk and Bruce Banner go against Red Hulk and the leader. And then they try to like weave the Serpent Society in from there. I honestly think that Sidewinder could have pulled the entire strings in the movie by himself. I easily could have been him. Now you would have to have like a more like physical threat for him to like pull the strings, and I don't have someone like that off the top of my mind. But I think this whole movie could have been Giancarlo Esposito Sidewinder pulling the strings. I don't think Leader's bad in this. Like it's just so weird seeing them in a non-Hulk film as the antagonist, like Thunderbolt Ross and the Leader. It's just weird. It just doesn't. I don't know. It's odd. It's just odd, and like I said, like it makes some sense, but like at the end of the day, it's just weird. It's just a little, and I know it's like the whole rights issue with Universal and the Hulk and Marvel, all that, and why they never made a sequel, but it doesn't make it any less weird that Sam's fighting with Hulk, that Sam's fighting the Leader. It's odd, it's weird, and I think that's the biggest thing. It's just like, and then you throw in that the fact that Saba is also like a Black Widow, so then there's some like Black Widow lore there, which we'll circle back to her in a second, but um. Yeah, yeah, it was just odd. It was just odd. And then some other things I didn't like was the pacing of it was super erratic. Oh my God, like the first half, the movie's only like 2 hours for context. It's so slow, right? So you think it's gonna be this long, unwinding mystery. The movie's only got 2 hours of runtime. Like we don't have like a 2.5 hour runtime like a Winter Soldier or a Civil War does. We don't have a 3 hour runtime like Endgame does, right? So then the last half is just like, whoa, they just like blitz through, and that's where all the really cool action scenes were, right, and all that. So it's like the slow, 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 and then bam, it's just jarring. It's like going from zero to fifth gear or something. I don't know. I don't know shit about cars, but just like that sudden updrive and velocity and the pace was just like whoa. It was total whiplash. It was total whiplash. Of course, like the third act of these movies tend to be higher pace. There's more action and stuff, but it was like especially jarring in this movie. So I think those are the main things I just didn't. Oh, and I think like Saba, the Ruth, the Israeli Black Widow, that's caused a lot of controversy around this film, and I think they literally like for a runtime of 2 hours, there were two characters that they could have cut or replaced and have another character like fill that role, and I don't think the movie would have been any different. I think it would have. I would think it would have enhanced those characters. Like I think you could have cut the Leader completely, have Sidewinder in there as just like the main guy pulling the strings, and then Ruth could have been played by or like all her screen time could have gone to the Taylor girl, and then you would have put a really interesting dichotomy about her loyalty to Sam versus her work loyalty to President Ross, right? And still have her be that kind of voice of reason for Ross. Like it was right there. That's all they had to do, and they could have avoided all the controversy of having her in the film. So I don't know. There was just a lot of mismatched parts that didn't really gel perfectly together within a 2 hour runtime. Like it was just odd. It was odd. Now some things I do like because I enjoyed this movie. I did. I'm not trying to sit here and like shit on it. Guys, if you've been watching, I'm like usually pretty positive, but and I hate to like open up with a line of criticism like that. But something I did like, I effing love Sam Wilson. His empathy, resilience, heart, grit. It is just absolutely remarkable. I mean, who better? Oh, God, it's so good. There's so many deep layers to Sam Wilson being a black man, having no super serum, having to overcome the challenge. I mean, there's so much symbolism in that, right? Like, it's incredible. And the fact that he just does not quit. He does not quit on others. He sees the best. Like he understands that Ross and the Leader are complicated people. He sees both sides, doesn't absolve them of anything, but can at least understand and empathize of both sides of their coin. Like it was great. It was wonderful. God, he's just so good. It's like when Bucky, which surprise, what a great scene that was. Bucky tells him like Steve gave them something to believe in, you give them something to aspire to be. That it doesn't matter what barrier you might face, whether it's institutional or societal or just personal, that you can overcome it. And you can be someone who inspires others through empathy and heart and resiliency and strength. Not from the strength of your muscles and your powers, just from what's in here. I think, oh God, that's just so good. It's so good, guys. It's so good. They crushed it. I will say they nailed that out of the park. Easily the best part of this film is that it cements Sam. It really rounds Sam into his character, like his defining traits. I mean, just empathy. That's all I can think about this entire movie is Sam's empathy and heart is just through the roof, and that's something like I really love. And I think this movie does a great job of cementing Sam moving forward as someone who could lead the Avengers, even without the Super Soldier Serum, even without being Steve Rogers. I think he cements himself as the easily leader for the easy. So I love that. I love that. I really like Joaquin Torres. He doesn't have much of an arc. He's still like the very like joyful, playful Falcon sidekick buddy character to Sam. Nothing really changes there. Still really likable character. Really like him. I'm not saying that. But yeah, he's good. He's good in it. I love Sidewinder's small part in it, just because Giancarlo Esposito is great. And I want to give them credit. They really did try their best with Red Hulk. I really, even though it was weird and it was mismatched, they really did try their best. They tried to humanize Ross without absolving of him. Hey, he was just trying to stay alive, show Betty that he's changed. But he does that at the cost of doing something horrifically inhumane, and he pays the price. This is the presidency, turns into the Red Hulk. Still has the nice, sweet, emotional payoff with once again, without being redeemed, of reconnecting with his daughter because he really is try, and Sam recognizes that. Back to the empathy and back to Sam's emotional intelligence and awareness. So yeah, and the design was good. It's good. I would have liked to see more like fire power, from it, like just like physical fire flames. He beats the hell out of Sam. I mean, he really does. It's funny. Sam makes like this like snide comment about like, and that's not even snide. Like when he's trying to talk down Ross, he's like, "Hey, like, look, we know you can punch me one punch," which I don't like. I think that part was a little twofold for me because I'm like, yeah, I love to see the hero just beat the hell out of the villain and just beat them. Right? Like that's why we watch the movies. Big strong hero go punch boom and hits the bad guy, right? That's fun. That's great. But once again, I think while maybe not the coolest ending, another showcase of Sam's different ways of dealing with the problem than Steve would. Because Steve, can just punch stuff, can just punch his way out of things. Sam has got it with his brain, with his heart, and I think it was just another example highlighting that. And then Harrison Ford was good in it. I mean, he's like an all-time great actor, so of course he's not gonna be bad in it. Let's see, what else did I really like? Oh, what I think this movie does a really great job. Another thing this movie does a really great job, related to Sam, is differentiating Sam's action sequences in a way that's really creative. Like let's place Steve in whenever they go to the church, right? And it's the hallway, and he's got to beat that big brute guy. Like Steve would have beat the brakes off those guys, no problem, right? Sam has to struggle. He's got to think of different ways, like like he can't just one punch a guy like Steve could, right? Like he's not leveling dudes. He's just not doing that, But it still looks fine. Like the action looks good. It's just not as overpowering as Steve is, which I think once again is a compliment to their ability to try to distinguish Steve's cap from Sam's cap. And all the aerial fun stuff they can do is just so fun. It's so cool. Like I loved all the Red Wing stuff. Him like surfing on the missile at the Battle of Cecil Island. Okay, that was cool. I don't care what anyone says. That was badass, right? Like, let's not get it twisted. Him using this shield mid-air, him using his wings to cut things, his just aerial movement, just really, really cool, inventive stuff, man. Like, and I'd forgotten, or I guess I didn't know that his shield had the same like kinetic absorption abilities that Black Panther suit does. I wish I would have used that a little more, just like a touch more. But that was really cool. Like they're just able to do a lot of really cool, fun things with Sam because he's got the vibranium wings, he's got a shield, he can fly, he's still a competent hand-to-hand fighter. Like they can do a lot of really cool, fun things with Sam, and I'm really glad they leaned into that. That's something I really, really enjoyed from this film. Oh God, I just love Sam. I love Sam. I love Sam. What else? What else do I want to touch on? Oh, let's talk about the Bucky scene. I give Marvel credit. they've not been best with the leaks. Historically, they're maybe not the best. But they made a big hullabaloo about how Bucky's not in this film, Bucky's not in this film, Bucky's not in this film. That scene, maybe the best scene in the whole movie. Didn't love that they rehashed on Sam's like identity crisis and rehashed on some points for the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but whatever. It's a minor critique I have for the whole movie, but that's not the point. But just seeing Bucky show up when he knows Sam needs it, and it has that a perfect balance of the heart and humor that their relationship is so fundamentally built on and based on. Bucky delivers a really hard, great speech, and then they play it off with humor, but it works without like cutting the legs out of that emotional moment. Incredible, really great work. It's funny seeing Bucky as a congressman. I'm like, he's the canonical assassin of JFK. Who's on this man? And I was like, I love my boy Bucky. Bucky's my guy. But just funny the fact that he's going to be a damn congressman in canon. But yeah, that scene was great. Oh, Isaiah Bradley. I was like, there's one more other thing I want to touch on. I love Isaiah Bradley's inclusion in the MCU, and the fact that this movie did not shy away talking about how he's a patriot, how he served this country, how he was locked up for 30 years and experimented on and tortured. How this movie doesn't shy away from that. It doesn't. It doesn't. And I think that's really, really ballsy and really cool. Because, like, if we're being honest, the Captain America movies have always been very woke. They're left, they're like anti-fascism, and then it's like, hey, like, fascism's bad, and like government overreach and oversight's bad. And then you take that to another level whenever you add in the layers of like institutional racism that Sam and Isaiah have faced in these roles. I mean, they don't touch on it quite as much as like with Joaquin, but you can just kind of assume, right? Just institutional bigotry and discrimination. And I love that they don't shy away from that. I was honestly kind of expecting them to lean into that more in this film, but they do it. They do it enough. They talk about it so much in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I'm not surprised they didn't like totally rehash that. But yeah. Isaiah Bradley's great. Just him being like finally exonerated like forever was really cool and really great. So overall, at the end of the day, this movie is a melting pot of parts that seem odd on paper and ultimately mesh awkwardly as well. Starting as a pseudo-Hulk sequel where rehashing points from The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, this film is dragged down by erratic pacing that can be jarring. However, the action sequences are great and Sam's heart, empathy, and resilience are at full display. He further proves why he got the shield in the first place, and that's honestly all this film needed to do. I'm going to give it a 7, but the Avengers, you've got your new captain. Thank you everyone for watching today's video. I always appreciate the support. Make sure you guys check out the link content above, and have a great day.